Okay, so for all us guys, this is going to be a great lecture. I'm talking about hair loss. Now, um, so many men, when they get older, they start developing problems with baldness. And the question is, what's going on here? And is there anything that we can do about it? So, one of the factors that supposedly causes hair loss is dihydrotestosterone, DHT. So you're going to see some things that on the market that's supposed to block DHT. DHT is a breakdown product of testosterone, and it definitely can cause a lot of issues. It can cause prostate problems, it can cause hair problems, acne problems. So it definitely is a chemical that can stimulate areas that are problematic. Um, when DHT affects the hair follicle, it can reduce the amount of the growth of this tissue, and the hair shaft becomes thinner, and in some cases will get so tiny that basically you don't have a hair that's visible there anymore. Um, the um, the problem I can tell you is the fact that um, DHT is also in young men, and it's not that common in young men for them to be bald. There are some men who have some genetic problems where they get hair loss early on, but in most cases, young men don't have a lot of baldness, but older men do. Um, so if young men have the most testosterone, it also means they have the most DHT because it's a breakdown product of testosterone. So basically, when you convert testosterone to DHT, the more testosterone you have, the more DHT you have. So that doesn't make any sense then. What's going on here? Well, part of the issue when you get older is a problem with estrogen imbalance. Um, and what tends to happen is that estrogen becomes more prominent. And DHT and estrogen compete with each other. Um, so, in other words, DHT blocks estrogen, estrogen blocks DHT. So, when the hormones become, irregular as you get older, the testosterone level falls, um, and you start producing different amounts of estrogen and DHT. What tends to happen is that's when these hormones start affecting other things. And so, that's part of the problem is this imbalance in hormones. When everything is nice and balanced, everything works fine. Estrogen blocks DHT, DHT blocks estrogen. You don't have to worry about man boobs. You don't have to worry about bald hair, uh, bald head. So, it's kind of this imbalance that's part of the problem. It's also the reason why there are so many men when they get into their late middle ages, they start having problem with impotence issues. Again, it's this imbalance of the hormones. Um, so you can do the blockage of the DHT, but because it's more to do with change in metabolism, it's not going to necessarily help too much. Also, there's a problem with aging too, is that just like your skin quality changes and your strength changes, you get weaker as you get older, um, uh, and different things change. Also, the hair follicles age, and so they get tinier, and again, the shaft of the hair becomes thinner. The hair becomes more brittle. And so it's easier for the hair to break. And so all these things again lead to loss of hair. So things you can do about this, not necessarily you can do anything permanent, but you can help by making sure that you take some vitamins to help out with the health of the hair. And there's a product called minoxidil, um, which stimulates the circulation in the scalp, and has been found that when you use it on the scalp, it'll grow some hairs. Um, Now, the hairs that are grown are in general smaller than normal. So it's important that you kind of have to take care of these because they're easier to break. So usually it's a good idea to try to do something else. Maybe try one of the DHT oils. Castor oil is great for baldness, by the way. It's a mess, but um, it is actually fairly good for people who are having hair loss problems. Because of the vitamins that are in castor oil, they help the health of the hair. Castor oil is absorbed into the scalp and kind of stimulates the scalp. So this is kind of an old fashioned treatment for baldness, is putting castor oil on the hair. Um, so, the medication, minoxidil, the old-fashioned treatment, castor oil, these things may be helpful. My advice is don't get old and don't produce any DHT. Good luck in following that advice. Take care. And check out some of my other videos.